Of course, we begin with the developments that are coming in from West Asia at this moment, where of course, the retaliation from Iran and attacks on Iran are continuing. President Trump says he should have a role in choosing Iran's new leader and rejected the possibility of Mojtaba Khamenei, son of the late Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, replacing his slain father, dismissing him as a lightweight. Trump said that he has to be involved in the appointment, drawing a comparison to Venezuela, where interim President Delcy Rodriguez has cooperated with the U.S.
Meanwhile, Israel's military chief has claimed that more than 60% of Iran's ballistic missile launchers and 80% of its air defense systems have been destroyed in the ongoing U.S.-Israeli campaign against the Islamic Republic. In a televised statement, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir said, and I'm quoting him here, "We have neutralized and destroyed more than 60% of the ballistic missile launchers," adding that the campaign against Iran has now entered its next stage. Israel's military chief said that they have ordered troops to expand the area under Israeli control in southern Lebanon.
Now, fresh rounds of explosions have been reported in south-central Iran as well, where Shiraz University of Medical Sciences was attacked. Shiraz is one of the top and oldest medical institutions in southern Iran, and it has 17 schools.
Meanwhile, NATO has increased its alliance-wide ballistic missile defense posture following the interception of a missile from Iran, which was targeted at Turkey. Colonel Martin O'Donnell, spokesperson for the Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers Europe, said, and again I'm quoting here, "The posture will remain at the heightened level until the threat from Iran continued indiscriminate attacks across the region subsides." Well, O'Donnell also added that NATO had perfectly executed its missile defense in Turkey.
Well, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has also weighed in on the ongoing war. He said that the ongoing war in West Asia has taken tensions in the region to a terrifying level that can spread further. In a televised speech, Erdogan said that the missiles and kamikaze drones directed by Iran against other countries in the region raised fears of the conflict spreading to a much wider area.
While Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that his country was prepared for any potential ground invasion. He said that such a move would spell disaster for the Islamic Republic's force, speaking to the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Araghchi said that they have no intention to close it right now, but as the war continues, every scenario may be considered.
Well, to discuss more on this, from New York, we're now being joined live by Chuck Froelich, former Israel Deputy National Security Advisor. Thank you so much for taking out your time and joining us on the broadcast. Now, Trump has insisted that he wants a say in picking the Iran leader. Do you think that Israel will have a say in that as well?
I think what President Trump was saying is not that he intends to specifically pick the successor, but what he wants to do, once the United States and Israel have gone to this great effort, launching a war to achieve their objectives, then he wants to know that the successor regime will be a more favorable one, one which will be less of a threat to regional stability, to American interests, and to Israel itself. And so I imagine that there will be joint consultations between the U.S. and Israel about that.
Right, and Professor Freilich, the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said that the American firepower against Iran is going to surge dramatically. And also we've heard from Israel's military chief Eyal Zamir, who said, that the country is moving into the next phase of the conflict. Now, I just want to understand from you, in your assessment, what could that next phase look like?
Well, remember, we're 6 days into this war, and the first two primary efforts were to achieve aerial supremacy, and that has basically been achieved over all of Iran at this point. And the other was to suppress missile fire, which has not been stopped completely, but has been degraded considerably. The next stage will focus further on Iran's various military capabilities, but I think it will also focus, this already began, but it will focus far more on weakening the regime itself. And so that will, I presume, include attacking IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard's headquarters and offices all over Iran. The same for the Basij militia, which is a huge militia of, I think, a couple of million people all over Iran. They're the first responders whose role it is to defend the regime against potential threats. So hitting their targets all over the country, and various other capabilities that help prop up the regime. That'll be the objective, to weaken it.
Professor Farlik, you have served in the Israeli Defense Forces for 5 years. Now, we've heard from the Araghchi that you also mentioned. Araghchi have now come to another formation where now every department is they have their own heads. There is no one particular leader who is now governing what happens next. There are different parts. And then these attacks that we have Yemen about, Houthi have now said that they have their fingers on the trigger. How far are we looking at this whole offensive going forward? How do you see this war trajectory going forward? And how is Israel, do you think, how capable is Israel, looking at the fact that they have just come out of a war in Gaza? How do you see it going forward?
Iran poses an existential threat to Israel. It says explicitly that its objective is Israel's destruction. And ever since the Islamic Republic, it has devoted great resources, financial, military, diplomatic, in every area to try and achieve that objective. Now, we know that the real objective when the October 7th massacre took place was a first stage towards Israel's imminent destruction had the Hamas, Iran, Hezbollah plan gone ahead as was intended. And so Israel is very, very determined to see this through to a successful end. I don't know if that actually means regime change, but certainly a major weakening of the regime and a major and even greater reduction in Iran's military capabilities, first and foremost in the nuclear program and in the missile capabilities. And I don't think Israel doesn't feel any imminent time constraints. Israel wants to see this through.